to a winning cause for the team, that makes me happy.
Sammy, as it relates to the work put in yesterday, you had an excellent all-round performance both with bat and ball. How much confidence do you take from that going into today's Eliminator 2?
Well, I'm backing myself to go out there today and do much better than I did yesterday and help my team to come out on top this time.
Excellent performances by North Leeward players. I asked that in the previous interview, and you are also from that region. How pleased are you to see those guys stepping up?
I'm very pleased about it because we've been putting in the work and we wanted to get here to the VPL, and now that we're here, we are making it great.
Here are the Botanical Garden Rangers as they have a second bite of the cherry to get in the championship game tomorrow, and we will see them in action in a few minutes.
And that was Emmanuel Stewart, the opening bat, the overseas player as well for the Botanical Garden Rangers, along with Winston Samuel. The bowler who really bowled, somewhat curtailed the run flow yesterday in the qualifier round of game against Saltpond Breakers. Samuel, he alluded to the fact that he would take that sort of guidance into today's game if he's given a play. As Stewart also mentioned that he has a lot of work. He's been putting in the work, but just the execution of it is just coming off and on. And the Botanic Garden Rangers, they will also look to see if they can get over the ropes. Well, it's promised to be a great day here for cricket. The sun is still out. We have a full battery of commentators lined up for you when we're back. We're going to take a quick Containers Delight break. Please do not go anywhere. We will be right back shortly for the Dream 11 VPL live from Arnoldville playing field here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, bringing you more flavor and more vibes.
Top few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 Charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the Saltpond Breakers, Botanic Garden Rangers. It's from the bleachers we will see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. A few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 Charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the Saltpond Breakers, Botanic Garden Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. A few explorers, the Grenadines divers, 4 Charlotte strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last Soufriere hikers, the Stalpon breakers, Botanical Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that brings the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League.
Welcome back, gentlemen, to the Arnsville playing field. To our viewers around the world, welcome back to lovely cricket here. The Dream 11 VPL cricket tournament. And boy, we're coming to you from the picturesque Arnsville, where we promise you more vibes and more flavor. We have Romel, we have Roxel. I'm so happy to see we have cricket at the end of the day. The Soufriere hikers, they have won the toss, Romel. They decided to bat. And Roxel, the Botanical Rangers, they have not been really playing their competitive cricket from what we saw in the start of the tournament. But they will need to come to the party today.
Yeah, I totally agree. Both teams going in the opposite direction in the last couple of games. In the case of the Soufriere hikers, they have gone back to what we knew they were good at in terms of Edition 1, batting really, really well, possibly coming good at the right time. The Botanical Garden Rangers, they had a really nice run at the beginning of Edition 2, petering off a bit, but let's hope they can go into that what we call the second wind from today.
Remember the Soufriere hikers, they're really picking up their game. Can we see a replica of the first version of the VPL, where we see the Botanical, the Stalpon breakers and the Soufriere hikers into the finals?
Well, first of all, good afternoon to viewers. Good afternoon, Roxel. Good afternoon, Casnell. The Soufriere hikers, they're in the ascendancy. That's one, and that's important. They have Desmond Maloney, their captain. He has been, in the last couple of games, he has really come to the party, so that's a great sign for them. Dylan Douglas, he has always impressed. He impressed in the first edition of the tournament. Brown, the opening batsman, he hasn't been doing too bad either. So they should really fancy their chances of going forward to the finals, especially against Botanical Gardens, who of late hasn't had an easy time of it. Yeah, but Hodge has the ball in hand, facing up his high and shallow. So let's see what happens.
Well, first delivery tucked him up. We have umpire Butler, standing umpire, and umpire Blade from Barbados. It's good to see him as the original umpire standing in the VPL. Short delivery, cut away, can't pass the man at point. Roxel, Shallow will be hungry for runs, as we would normally say metaphorically, and he will look to go all guns blazing, but he will have to do it with some care and caution.
Well, I don't think Shallow ever loses an appetite to score and score big, and Garden Rangers score today.
The Botanical Rangers off the mark with leg by. In that batch of run scoring. Cut away in front of boy, they're going out to the boundary, and that first national lottery really boundary, just as we're talking about his hunger for runs to join his other counterparts. He just opened his account with a 4.
Yeah, a beautiful shot there by Stuart, giving himself a bit of room to access the offside a bit more. Yeah, but more than that, there will be one doing to themselves, or well, they must have discussed it before, but they have to make sure they put a good total, judging from the first game that was played today. They know that 100 on this service might not be enough. So it's important now that they get an excellent start in the power play, and that is why we saw Stewart backing away the very first delivery, because 3 deliveries had already been bowled to Hiram Shallow for just 1 run. So it's important that they really kick off the Botanical Garden Rangers. The batting of La Soufriere strikers, it's, to me, is one of the better batting lineups of the tournament.
Well, let's push back. And we've seen of a late that Roxelle, that Emmanuel Stewart has really, as he rightly said in his interview, he's putting in the work. We have seen a couple of cameos being played, and which has really, some of them not really. Quick run. Oh, this could be close. He's run out. What a piece of field there by Hodge. And he was quick. As a matter of fact, that is exquisite feeling, because it was to his right side. He's a left-hander. He has to pick that up. Shallow was somewhat reluctant in getting to the crease. He's run out. The Botanic Garden Rangers loses their first wicket.
Tremendous piece of feeling there. And you were speaking about the overseas-based players, or those who haven't been.
That brings Kieran Kotoy to the crease. And Rommel, a wicket in the first over, always seems to set things back for the Botanic Garden Rangers.
Yeah, that was a massive blow there, being done by the La Soufriere Hikers. Hodge, as we all know, has been an excellent fielder throughout his career as a Windward Island player, as a former West Indies under-19 and under-15 player. So really a big blow there for the Botanical Garden Rangers. Hiram Shallow, he has been one to do the bulk of the scoring for the Botanical Garden Rangers. The job is now being left up to Emmanuel Stewart, and Kotoy was just joined him. 5 runs in the first over. Yes, they would want to make sure they do not lose any wickets going forward, but they have to get that scoring rate going.
Well, this one is cut between point and cover, out to the boundary. Hodge now picks it up and returns powerfully, but cannot avoid the 2-run. 2 more to the total.
Well, I was just given an interesting statistic by the statistician. That was the 4th run out between those 2 opening partners there, Stewart and Hiram Shallow.
Well, this one is dabbed between the man at point and short target, going out to the boundary. A very quick outfield here at Adamsville playing field. Once you play shots, you get value for the shot, and another 2 to the total, Roxelle.
Yeah, definitely. I believe people around the country, especially the windward side, will be wondering how in the world we're playing cricket here today, because last night into this morning it was just rains, but the outfield is still impeccable in terms of its speed. Value for your shots.
Well, this one is onto the onside. As we see, a strong wind is blowing across from the east to the western side of the ground. The palm trees, they're really taking a blow in the distance there, so to the national flag.
Well, I think this might precipitate a different type of batting by Kotoy, because you know he has a penchant for the onside. We saw in the very first innings that he played, he just walked across the wicket and dispatched a number of deliveries over the mid-wicket and long on fence. And the wind being the way it is now, I think that might move him a bit to play that way again, irrespective of the loss of the wicket earlier on in the first over.
Well, Kotoy comes into strike, and Lewis will go around the wicket to Kotoy. Quite interesting field. So he would be asked to bowl somewhat of a wideish length to Kotoy. Kotoy will have to play a more responsible role now, somewhat of a rebuilding, because we saw yesterday that a cluster of wicket fell, and as soon as the Botanic Garden Rangers, they had a very good start against the Southern Breakers, but that cluster of wicket and keep losing wicket was a problem for them. This time over cover, going out to the boundary, and they come back for the second. Just somewhat of a golf shot, we will call that. That spoon in the air and just stop there at the point.
Well, somebody has to take the bull and not just hold the horn, but pull the horn here. It's a do or die situation, and they cannot get bogged down. That's just my estimation.
Tapped away, past them on a short thought. It's going out to the boundary. It's a welcome boundary, National Lottery 3D boundary, a sensible cricket shot.
Yeah, we saw, well, that was a bit of finesse there by Kotoy. He waited on the delivery, and that was important. He didn't try to overhit it at all, and he picked the gap beautifully, and the ball just sped away to the boundary. Surprisingly so, Roxel, given the fact that, as you mentioned, so much rain, fell between last night and this morning. A really beautiful ground in which to play cricket here at Annisvale. Credit, of course, must go to the groundsmen who have put in a lot of work over the past couple of days. So yes, it's lovely cricket here at Annisvale. So come down, join us wherever you're watching from. Stay tuned. The weather looks nice. The place is windy. So, and judging from the first game, expect to see a high scoring encounter here.
Yes, I agree. And the batters would have to mix that finesse and the grace with the seriously strong, powerful shots.
Well, Hodge continues. This one is cut away to the point boundary. What a shot there by Emmanuel Stewart. It is a very good shot, and he get value for that shot. 4 more as we see compelling cricket starting here, Roxel.
Tremendous shot there by Stewart. Tremendous. Got on top of that one. Didn't need to give himself a lot of space, and he really hammered it and technically looked in place there.
Well, yeah, but he's sure the diminutive figure, ain't it? But he's quite busy at the crease, and he's quite powerful from what we have seen thus far. And he uses the crease quite well, in my opinion. He's quite busy. John Two was like.
Oh, you would not want to take another run out there, because Hodge seems to be patrolling that area, just like the units of the police force, they will call the RRU unit, the Rapid Response Unit. They are very quick onto that ball there, Hodge.
You know more about that. You could tell us a little bit more about that, Constable.
The speed and the response time. Yeah, this one is dabbed to the man at backward point. They go for one sloppy piece of work there, but just didn't cost them an extra. As you see, some great pictures view from our folks here at ITFX. Doing some very good camera work with us here at the VPL. They have been really having it on their heels to work very hard. And these shots that you're getting here as Kotoy changes his bat, and the ITFX team here, they have been really giving us quality shots of the ground and also of this cricket throughout the tournament.
Castle, I'm a bit unsure of the line and length that Hodge is going to bowl, because long off is on the boundary, 2 men are supposed to be out, and they have a deep mid wicket.
Well, this one is spawned in the air, just being able to get it over the bowler's head, and the man at mid-on, and just dropping short between them there at this Campbell for 1, 22 for 1.
Yeah, I really think we cannot downplay what Hodge is offering. He's been excellent in this game, a big game where you know the batsmen are going to come out and try to hit you about the place, and on a surface that is really good for batting. I think he has done really well for the Soufriere Hikers.
This one is up and over the point cover region. Well, they go for one, they're coming back for the second. I think the plan will be not to lose another wicket to Hodge, as he bowled a slower delivery and asking Stewart to manufacture his own strength out of that one. Stewart is 16 from 10 deliveries, and Kotoy, he's on 7 from 4.
Yeah, that was well played by Stewart. He didn't really try to reach the ball. He waited on it, as you said. Smart bowling by Hodge, though. He's one of the few bowlers I've seen thus far that slows down the deliveries quite a bit. One of the few spinners I've seen, because ordinarily the spinners tend to push it through.
This time a faster one, pitched outside the half stump, let it go through. Empire did not call a wide. So end of the third over, it's 24 for 1. 8 runs per over. Welcome Raxel at this time. It's somewhat you will accept losing the first wicket.
Yeah, well, even Stevens, as it relates to 3 overs gone, but Hodge must be pleased and his captain must be pleased to have gone for 12 runs. 6 runs and over or anything less than that in T10 cricket, T20 cricket even, you can be pleased with that on, again, a surface of this nature.
And boy, oh boy, it will be all guns blazing here because it is a do-or-die situation. It will be interesting to see the medium pace of Bennington Stapleton coming into the attack to see what pace he extracts from this track, because he's a strong lad in his shoulder area. Most of his pace is extracted from that and his delivery strides. This time Kotoy comes down the track looking to whip it through the mid-wicket region. And one will have got the one hardly played that one.
Yeah, I get the feeling Kotoy will look to take the attack to Lewis, being the last over of the power play.
Swing and a miss. Scamper through for 1.
Yeah, some edge in play there. I guess that's why Lewis did not go up, because it was pretty adjacent as Kotoy looked to go inside of his wicket to make use of that. But again, these two would have to bat and bat deep and also turn the runs over, because we have seen that the 4 challenge strikers, they are coming good with the bat.
Well, so the spectators, they're out. Busy running here as Kotoy Towns come back for the second run. Very good running between the wicket, as you alluded to, Roxelle. They must be able to turn it, and they are 2 experienced players, Windward Islands player. They should be able to have some level of communication between them, Romel.
Yes, Windward Islands players, and they would know the nature of this cricket. They know each other well, and 2 good athletes, Romel.
Well, a bit of fumble. Kotoy was halfway down the track looking for that one as we talk about communication, but a bit of fumble allows him to get back home safe.
Well, we saw a while ago Stuart trying to manufacture a shot by giving himself room. I'm not going to blame him for that, because after all, we're still in the power play overs. And we really need to get going, being 27 for 1. You know, they would have seen what happened in the first over. Not the first over, sorry, the first game. So there needs to be a bit of urgency, because the wicket hasn't changed much, has it? So there needs to be a bit more urgency here by Botanical Garden Rangers. They are running well between the wickets thus far. They're looking for the singles, but I'm talking about the big hits that we haven't seen thus far. So there needs to be a lot more of that going forward.
So good crowd is in the arena today. Short of a length. I think Dylan will be one of the wrong person to take a single to. So it's end of the over, end of the power play. It is 28 for 1 at 7 runs per over. The Botanical Garden Rangers, they're in a quest, as we see, appears to be Bennington Stapleton who will come into the attack.
They would definitely need to put their feet to the pedal now. What we must remember is that the last 4 hikers, their bowling has been pretty consistent throughout the tournament. They have not really been beaten about the place. Yes, you got the 90s, you got the early 100s. What was not working for them was their batting. And so with these 2 complements coming together, the Botanical Garden Rangers must think that they will need to push on now with the batting.
Well, remember, what do you think would be the message coming out of the dressing room to these 2 batsmen?
Well, Hiron Shallow has left, has gone back into the dugout. Emmanuel Schwartz and Kotoy, these 2 are the 2 senior batters at the crease. So while they would want to make sure that they do not lose a wicket, they have to persevere, and they have to persevere by scoring at a much quicker run rate, I should say, than 7 runs per over. Bennington Stapleton, a pacer, he hasn't done too badly throughout the tournament here, but they should really look to take advantage of this sort of bowling because he is medium pace. So any short deliveries, Stewart is capable enough to dispatch them. So too is Kieran Katoy. So Benetton Stapleton should look to pitch up the ball.
Well, as busy as you say he looks, this time he's coming back for the second run, and he's also quick as much as he appears to be busy. That fidgety kind of Alex Stewart kind of batsman, fix everything after a shot. He's running between the wicket. He's been one that is not a Usain Bolt, but a good enough speed to get two.
Yes, they must have gotten two there because that was a lot of work for Lewis to come around. I think that was one of the areas in the last three deliveries where of the first game where the four Charlotte strikers may have needed to push a little stronger with those two the first deliveries where they got singles.
Well, bowled him. He's bowled. He went across the stumps trying to manufacture that one over short fine leg, and in doing so, a delivery didn't really bounce as he expected it to. And boy, Emmanuel Stewart goes for 21 from 17 deliveries. The Botanical Garden Rangers, they have lost their second wicket at 30 for 2.
Yeah, that was really, really a big blow there to the Botanical Garden Rangers. Emmanuel Stewart, they would have looked to him to bat on and bat deeply into their innings to propel them as far as possible. Katoy is still there. You know what he's capable of. He's capable of hitting those big boundaries, those long balls. He hasn't done so just yet. He has just faced 7 deliveries. Hector is still at the QEL. He has joined Katoy. He hasn't really lit the tournament on fire, so to speak, but he is capable. He's progressing nicely, but they would need a big effort from Katoy going forward, an exceptionally big effort if they are to be competitive.
Tell you what, Romel, just to use your term, I would have, as captain of the Botanical Garden Rangers at this stage, I would come and bat. Because Demba has come and played 2 or 3 or even more than that cameos where he got 30s, 40s and has looked really good from the first ball. That's what they needed here. We know Donwell can bat, but based on what we've seen in this tournament, Captain Demba should have been at the wicket at this stage.
Well, that's a good call, but it's not what the captain sees at this moment. I believe that he's still looking to rebuild a platform. And the boy, Benetton Stapleton. Dead ball signal by umpire. As we mentioned, the strong breeze is harassing those bills as well.
Going back to your statement, Roxel, about wanting Denver, I have to agree with that wholeheartedly because, as you said, Denver throughout the tournament has really been their man in the middle overs, and this is the 5th over being bowled. Hector, yes, he has gotten a few starts, but he has not really done what he was supposed to do. So Denver really should be the man to bat now.
Wide delivery.
Nice lift there for Benetton. Really putting his shoulders into it.
Good carry.
I think the Botanical Garden Rangers are looking down the barrel here right now if they do not get something going.
Oh, a delivery, the pace and bounce that we were talking about, that one was extracted out of the pitch and only could have managed to steer it into the hands of the keeper. Boy, oh boy, the Soufriere hikers, well, they're digging deep into the Botanical Garden Rangers pocket and they have lost their 3rd wicket and they are 31 for 3 at this time.
Tremendous delivery, and you could see the effort in that one by Benetton Stapleton and Romel. Regardless if it was Hector or Demba, a good delivery like that could have gotten anyone.
Yeah, it was an excellent delivery. He had some bounce on that for medium pace. But bowling to a Denver and bowling to a Hector is a different psychological thing, isn't it? Because imagine you as a bowler running into bowl to a Walsh as opposed to Gale. It's a completely different thing. I'm not saying that Hector is incapable. We know that he is very much capable of judging from what he used to do in the past, because I remember a couple of years ago he was one of the better batsmen in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but he hasn't
about the psyche. It's about the psyche.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing cricket as much as Denver has been, so he's a bit out of it. So that is why I backed your statement when you said that Denver really should have been the one to bat at number 4. Well, here's it now. Hector has only faced one delivery. They have to play brave cricket there on, because they have to get a decent total. Yes, they've lost wickets, but not to say they're going to throw caution to the wind, but some of the caution really has to be thrown to the wind if they are to get to a competitive total.
Well, competitive total, it's not something I think that will be on the mind of them, but now he will be looking to secure his wicket as he pushes this one, first delivery. But and as I mentioned, the bounce on that delivery, that wicket-taking delivery, it kind of surprises Hector. He was not able to adjust quickly, and that took off with some speed and only managed to just nick it on its way to the keeper. And a very welcome wicket there, and also Bennington bowling very well so far. Demba pushes and Demba gets off the mark at this time. It will be interesting to see the approach of the Botanical Garden Rangers here after losing 3 quick wickets. They are 32 for 3 at the end of over number 5. Something that will be welcomed by the Soufriere hikers.
Well, this run rate would not cut it, just to put it frankly. Definitely 60, 70, 80. I believe that's easy pickings on this surface. They are having a mid-wicket conference now. That's Kotoy and Demba. And it must be that, listen, we have to bat the remaining 5 overs and maximize the opportunities and even make opportunities for ourselves.
Well, the opportunity right now will rest on Jeremy Haywood. He will be full of confidence because the Soufriere hikers, they're in the better position as we speak. And still hot sun here at Arnoldville playing field. The Dream 11 VPL cricket competition. We are down to the wires of the game. Tomorrow's game was the finals, and whoever wins this game, they will be playing the Saltpond Breakers. We also have packed entertainment tomorrow for you. Remember, the kids, they could come out and the bouncing castle and rock climbing. Oh, short delivery, missed by them. As we have also Chanel McKenzie seated, the lyrical diva. They also will be here alongside other performers. It would be interesting to see a leg spinner comes in from this end, this commentary booth end, with that wind that is blowing across the playing field. I just want to stop into the outfield looking for 2. Only could manage 1.
Well, Douglas will tell you he bowls leg spin sometimes, so we may see some of that a little later on. But Haywood has been operating really, really well for the Soufriere hikers in the tournament, and he has continued that so far in this over. And if he has to bowl 2 overs at this rate, trouble it would spell for the Botanical Garden Rangers.
Well, short delivery, hold down. Bennington, Stapleton, you get 1. And as much as, yes, you don't want to lose another wicket and you welcome the 1 and the singles, you didn't want that ball, they really need to get some national or to treat the boundary or even some super 6. Another single to the tally.
Well, someone has to take the bull by its horn, as you mentioned, Roxelle. I don't know if it's going to be Katoy or Denver, but someone has to do it. This is the 6th over being bowled. 24 balls will remain after this over is completed. The only 35 which leave, that won't cut it.
Wide-ish delivery.
But credit must go to the way the Soufriere Hikers have gone about playing in cricket. There's a clear plan. There's really a clear plan. Haywood is bowling the ball wide of the crease to the left hander, forcing him to hit to the eastern side of the ground. Denver might be caught into minds wanting to hit the ball over the onside, given the wind factor.
I'm not sure if the approach of the batsman is the right approach that is required here. Haywood is bowling well. You're talking about trying to hit to the longer part of the field against the wind instead of going straight back past the bowler. I'm not sure. In your estimation, a much better batsman than me, Romel, in my time, you could probably advise.
Well, to be fair to Haywood, he's not giving them the opportunity. Because you see almost every delivery the batsmen are playing on the back foot. All right? And it's not so much sure that they have time to come back and pull ferociously. All right? So maybe they need to advance down the wicket. You know, I don't know. So credit should really go to Haywood. But the batsmen, they really need to put some impetus going forward. They really can't be going at 6 runs per over at this stage.
Well, Dylan Douglas comes into the attack from the administrative centre end. Well, he's bowled him. Somewhat of a lazy shot there by Kieran Katoy. Someone relaxed position, and that one played onto the stump. The force ball from Dylan, and boy, the Botanical Garden Rangers. The captain is at the non-striker's end, standing in amazement as to, am I seeing the right thing here? Am I playing the right game here?
Well, you definitely saw. He definitely saw the right thing. I think what I would prefer to see, if I can get that now, is the replay of Dylan's celebration, because that was much more attractive than the shot that was played by Kieran. But yes, they are in a tremendously huge hole here. Let's see, look at it. Look. Are we seeing that? Can we? No, we're not. But definitely in a deep hole here. The Botanical Garden Rangers. Who's coming to the wicket? We have it's Delplesh. He's known for hitting it hard, and they will require that and much more in the remaining 4 overs or so.
And this has been the pressure that the Botanical Garden Rangers have always put themselves in. The dependency on the experienced players, the more experienced players, to really score. And they have somewhat loose wicket or some loose deliveries that they should have capitalized on and put the pressure on the lesser experienced guys. Now, Delplesh now, he has to perform at the bat. And not to say he's not a batsman or to discredit his ability, but your pick as a batsman, you're supposed to, into the 6th, 7th over, still be there. That delivery is somewhat wide, off a width, confirmed now by umpire Butler as a wide. Puts the total to 37. Romel, what you as a captain, almost half of your team is in the 7th over, the battling.
Well, it can't get much worse than this, really. You just have to be brave and back yourself. Go for the shots, because you know a total of 70 on this, it's really not going to cut it. More often than not, you're going to lose. So you really have to back yourself. You have to give your bowler something to work with.
Another wide delivery. So we see the ploy is to bowl wide, keep it away from the arc of of Delplesh, because when he swings very hard. So when he flicks it off to the mid-wicket region.
It's an interesting delivery there by Douglas, because I looked at his hand. It seemed as though he bowled a leg break delivery. But I know Denver, he would be happy to be on strike. He would be hitting to the easier side of the ground, the bigger side right now, but the wind factor negates that largeness, so to speak.
Another leg break.
Well, Romel, with 6 wickets in hand, 3 overs to come, caution must be thrown to the wind.
Definitely. Now after this, you're going to have 3 overs. Right, so only 1 more over from this end. So that is why I thought Denver was going to take the attack to Douglas, because there's only 1 more over, the 9th over.
This one is high and hard, just in that arc I was mentioning, and the South Philip Stadium, where they're taking a pounding to Delplesh shot. He goes for 6.
Well, Delplesh would need to hit many more, as many as he possibly can, to give himself and his other teammates who will be using the ball a little later on something to bowl at.
So we've seen throughout the tournament what 1 over can do. Right? You can have an over where you score 22 or 25 and your run rate will just shift from 6 to 8. So they just have to back themselves. And Dembai has faced 7 deliveries. Not a lot by any means, but in the context of T10 cricket, quite a number of deliveries he has faced. So he really and truly, he should be in by now.
Well,
so and look to take the attack, especially to any bowler who's bowling from the end that Douglas is bowling from. And that's the easier side, as we've always mentioned, to hit a 6 from, especially if you are a right-hander. And there are 2 right-handers at the wicket right now. So that is why I thought Denver would have been ecstatic to take on Douglas.
Well, no matter where you're watching us from, our national player, West Indies player, Keswick Williams, he said he's in New Zealand watching the game, and he don't want to lose sleep because of the performance of the Botanical Garden Rangers. He being the former captain, but because of international duties, he has to be in New Zealand. But he's watching from New Zealand, and he wants the Botanical Garden Rangers to perform.
A few of those swings from Keswick would have been really ideal now for the Botanical Garden Rangers as we shout him up.
Well, he credits himself as a top order batsman.
As a what?
Top order batsman.
Let me say hello if he's watching, Keswick. Wish him all the best in New Zealand. West Indies fast bowler. Quite an asset, in my opinion, to the West Indies especially in the limited overs form of the game. He would have loved to be here for sure.
Oh, misses. Haywood. Botanical Garden Rangers 46 for 4. A lot has to be questioned as to the Botanical Garden plan and setup and what sort of cricket they really want to play. They really started out with a good high energy of winning. And they have just, from the time they have lost the game, they have just taken that downward slope. Well, they're talking about downward slope. They're playing against the Soufriere hikers, and it is really hard to range the hills of the Soufriere, Roxelle.
Well, to get up to that hill today, or to that mountain, the summit, you're going to take a lot more than they're doing right now in terms of their batting.
Swing and a miss. And a bit of confidence there from the captain. He really want to keep that from the arc of Delplesh. A short bounce, extra bounce on that one. And even the keeper was caught with surprise. And it goes through for a bye. And Delplesh is a very talented cricketer. I've seen him play the wrong is from the North Leeward area, and both of them that are batting there, they are from the same community of Chumuka. That's on the northwestern side of the island, and they should be able to have somewhat of a understanding of each other. Zemba tried to cut that one, and only one.
Well, Hayward has bowled, 11 deliveries for 6 runs. and this is tremendous returns in a T10 game, in any cricket game, to a matter of fact.
So let me heave it into the mid-wicket region for one. They're looking for the second and only managed to take one. They need to turn these ones into 2 Romel.
Yeah, 50 for 4 at the end of the 8 overs. 12 deliveries remaining. Bennington, it seems is going to come back now. He had a very good first over, so he's not going to make anything easier for the batsman right now. But Denver really needs to go. He has 6 runs off 10 overs. Throughout the tournament, he really was the one who propelled the innings for Botanical Gardens in the lower half of the innings they batted. So it's a bit surprising that he hasn't gotten off. I guess the other team, Soufriere Hikers, they did their homework and said to themselves, hey, keep out the half, keep on the shorter end of the wicket when bowling to Denver, because he loves it when the bowler pitches it up.
And what is interesting to note is that the last 3 games that the Botanical Garden Rangers have lost, they have batted first.
Mind games? Could be mind games, but definitely behind the 8 ball, and if they get another 30, even 40 from here, 90 any day, the last of our hikers would have been saying, give us that and we'll try and we'll definitely chase that down.
But Roman, do you think they have the bowling to back whatever total they put there, or somewhat of a like a 70, 80? This one, he swings high and hard, just what you've been asking for. Denver have paid credit to it, and boy, it's a welcome 6, something we haven't been seeing in this inning so far.
Yeah, that was a very, very good hit. Like I said, Bennington is a medium pacer, so he can ill afford to be bowling this length. He needs to get the ball up as much as possible to the batsman, preferably wide of the crease, 1.5 foot, not the crease, the stumps, 1.5 foot wide of the stumps would be the ideal length in my opinion. But yeah, they need the Botanical Gardens, they really need some impetus to their innings. This over, if it goes for 20, it can give them some momentum going into the last over, and who knows, they can get up to 90 and create a great game for us to look at.
Well, it looks like you saw Tanti Mull, because the way you're talking there, in order for us this game to go down to the wire, Tanti Mull must be in the stands.
Benton comes around the wicket, swing in the air. A keeper comes around and takes the catch. Kenneth Denver goes the captain, and the Botanical Garden Rangers loses their 5th wicket, at 57 for 5. We are into over number 9.
Well, they've lost their talisman in the form of Denver now. So the Botanical Gardens, they're definitely in a spot of bother. Atticus Brown is about to enter. He's primarily known as a top order batter, but he hasn't really come to the fore so far in the tournament. He's not someone you would associate with the big hits. He's more of a placer or a nerdler, if you will. So a lot will depend on Delpech to get those big boundaries. I'm not saying, it's not Atticus, Winston Samuel. He looks very much like Atticus Brown, doesn't he? He looks very much like Atticus Brown. But Winston Samuel, he is quite capable of hitting them as well. But Delpech, she has been the one that has been in for a number of deliveries, so he has to take the mantle for Botanical Gardens Rangers and give them some sort of a decent score in which to defend.
Well, you said they're probably in a spot of bother. I believe they're in the Bermuda Triangle trying to get out.
Well, if you're trying to, they can. It's easy. As Bennington will ask questions of Delplesh as he comes around the wicket. Swing and a miss. I think Bennington has really somewhat up his standard in terms of the deliveries that he have offered in this tournament. He haven't really gotten much of the bowling, but whenever he got the opportunity to bowl, he really puts his hands up.
Well, he is the only pacer for the Soufriere Hikers, isn't he? It's a spin-heavy kind of team, the Soufriere Hikers. Well, they do have Ryan Williams, but I haven't seen him in the bowl. I know.
Down the leg side.
Yes, they do have Ryan Williams, as I said before. But after I know he came in for a bit of a stick in one of the games, and thereafter I haven't seen him with the ball. So I guess the captain, Desmond Maloney, has lost confidence in Ryan Williams. But nonetheless, Ryan Williams is quicker than Bennington Stapleton. Certainly has a brighter future, in my opinion. Could be wrong, but has a brighter future, has more pace.
Short delivery, swing and a miss. Well, 57 for 5 at the end of over number 9. We're into the last over. Something the Soufriere Hikers will take.
Any day, any given day. And the three people who were in action just now, in Samuel, Delplesh and Bennington Stapleton, from the same area. They know each other quite well. And this is testament to what's coming out of North Leeward, but Bennington would have bowled against these guys a lot and would definitely know where he should bowl, where he shouldn't bowl, and eventually he ended it over quite well after that humongous 6 from Denver.
Well, Bennington and Winston, they're from Rose Hall, community of Rose Hall. That's one of the highest living points here in St. Vincent, one of. And Delplesh is from Chumuka, so they're not far. It's just about some over 200 feet apart in terms of the knitting of the village boundaries. So Dylan, Samuel now off the mark. Brings Delplesh into strike 58. And this is not a total that the coaching staff and the managerial staff will not want to see for the Botanical Garden Rangers, but will be welcomed by the Soufriere Hikers. This one is heaved down the ground. What an effort there from Bennington Stapleton to take it back in. But in doing so, he was able to get it on a welcome 6 there for the Botanical Garden Rangers.
Yeah, they're going to need much more of that, and Douglas is well placed to give them much more of that, in my opinion.
Swings hard outside edge, runs down to the third man boundary, 4 more runs and 4 more to the total. Delplesh moves on to 68 for 5.
Yes, Delplesh is going to go gung-ho on Douglas, he being an off spinner. So all Delplesh has to really do is to get on the front foot and try to launch that ball as far as possible. I thought the captain would have brought on Ryan Williams for the last over, but I was wrong.
Swing and a miss, wide, signal by umpire. Blade. Somewhat of a disgruntled action there from Dylan. Believes that Delplesh stepped across, which would have carried the crease with him as well. But the white zone is there for. Down the left side, swing out to the boundary. Well saved there by the fine leg fielder. And they come back for 2. 2 wides. Now signaled by the umpire. Really helpful runs. As that brings up 72. 72, still have 3 more deliveries. Can they get up to 80? swing high in the air, out to the square leg boundary, takes the catch, a magnificent catch there by Williams. And Delbrecht goes in an effort that is somewhat acceptable at the stage in which he came into bat. And Delbrecht loses his wicket to a delivery that was pounding, and he pulled it away, and he goes to 19.
More than acceptable. He had to go, and that was the order of the day. That is what was needed, and he has put, if you want to say that, a little level of respectability to the score. 70-80, they may go in and say, well, you know what, the game is not done and dusted until the last ball is bowled or the last run is scored, and this is what Delbrecht has achieved here. If they get to 80, they possibly can think, listen, we'll try to fight, but that fight is going to have to be really, really strong against this potent Soufriere Hikers batting.
Well, Richie Richards coming to the crease, almost a midfield collision there, but they were able to evade each other. As Richard will get his one. So the first should be the first and the last. Hard down to the fielder. They go for one. It's coming back for the second. They could get two. Oh, is he? And he's run out. So only could get one. Richie Richards is run out for one. And the Botanical Garden Rangers, in a dismal performance, they only managed to reach 73 for 7 performance, I will call it, from.
They would have liked it to be coming out of first game forward and 70, as I said earlier. This is what I'm going to give you. Batting coming good right now, Romero.
And I think that the captain really give kudos, welcome Benson and really did well. I remember.
Marcus had an all-round good performance, was excellent up front. He really put a stranglehold on Orkney Lewis. He did exceptionally well as well. He only went for 50. That really broke their back. He getting the wicket, the all-important wicket of Demba and Haywood. Oh, miserly. 5 economy rate. Excellent. The only person really to take a bit of a stick there was Douglas. But nonetheless, the last Soufriere Hikers decent in the form that it should be easily batting that the last Soufriere possess. They played excellent cricket at the start of the tournament. They went on a losing streak, and they will never something that they really had to address. I'm not sure how well from the first game, and judging from how Soufriere Hikers are going to be uphill task. All the bowlers will have to come to the party, to the field. But my bet, if I were a betting man, would be on the last Soufriere Hikers.
And attitude of the Botanical Garden Rangers. Yes, you do not have the total they want, but as we normally say in cricket, runs on the board is runs on the board. What
in any moment of whatever transpires in this second innings, doubt themselves. They have a team, they have a unit, they have bowlers who are picked to bowl, has a lot of glorious uncertainties. So you never know. But if we are to take it as the four child strikers have been playing in the last couple of games, it would be an uphill task. But they must still have self-belief. That's important. Each and every one of them, as they're given an opportunity to do something in the field in about 10, 15 minutes, if not less than that, must still have self-belief in order for them to try to effect what would be a big upset based on the score that they've had.
Well, it will be something to watch when we return, because we're going to take a Containers Delight break at this time. We will be back shortly for Dream 11. More VPL cricket coming to you live from Arnoldville playing field here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where we have promised and we are delivering on more vibes and more flavor.
Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, these Southbound breakers, but they got Rangers. It's from the bleachers we will see. VPL, stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. It's the Vincy Premier League. few explorers, the Grenadines divers, four child strikers. Somebody celebrate your team. Last team breakers, the Southbound breakers, Botanical Rangers. It's from the bleachers we would see. VPL is more flavor, more vibes. VPL that bring the stadium alive. VPL, this is the joy of we life. Shy, brown, Vincy, hands up high, and
Gym 11 cricket competition here at the Arnoldville playing field, where we are looking at a run trace here by the Soufriere Hikers. The Botanical Garden Rangers, they took first strike and was able to manage a total of just over 70. I'll get that correct score for you. 73. Yes, and we are seeing now the Soufriere Hikers. They will come out to do battle, and we still have Roxel, we still have Rommel here. It will be interesting to see how the pace attack of the Botanical Garden Rangers go out to achieve this, knowing that Desmond Maloney and Salvan Brown, they are the ones that are going to open battle here for the Soufriere Hikers. They love the pace onto the ball.
Good afternoon to viewers. Good afternoon again to Kaz and good afternoon to Roxel. Yeah, the Soufriere Hikers would be happy. They would feel confident going forward. Their captain Desmond Maloney, he has struck some form. So to a little lesser extent has Salvan Brown. So they would feel happy chasing this low total in my estimation. But more importantly, I think they ought to approach this innings as though they're chasing 100, because far too often when teams chase lower totals, they tend to be a bit circumspect and get themselves into trouble. So they should see themselves chasing 100. I'm not saying they should go about playing careless cricket, but get into a positive frame of mind going forward. You do not want to get bogged down at all, because we see what one good over can do in a T10 game.
Yeah, I totally agree, Rommel. And for me, the question is how many overs the Soufriere Hikers are going to take to complete this job.
Well, it will be Kamali Williams. He has been bowling very well for the Botanical Garden Rangers. I think he's the leading wicket taker so far in that column. He will do battle against Salvan Brown. Edge, he's dropped. First delivery, Salvan cuts it into the hands of Richie Richard, and he's dropped.
That was traveling. That really got on to Richie Richards very, very quickly. I think it hit him instead of him trying to catch it, to be honest.
Yes, that would have been a difficult catch. But if you're looking to win this game, these are the catches that you have to take. Yeah, Salvan Brown, he's not going to stop. I don't think he should stop. I think he's going to go hard at the bowler. Desmond Maloney might look to play himself in just for a little bit, but he would take advantage of any loose deliveries bowled by Kimali for sure. He's in that kind of form.
Well, boy, oh boy. Wide length delivery confirmed there by umpire Butler as a wide as the total moves to 2. If you look at that replay of that drop catch, it was somewhat in the mid-riff area of Richie Richards. Delivery wide. And just before the first ball bowled, I saw Kimali signal him from square leg and put him in that direct region. And boy, first ball was dropped. Well, look at this. Sloppy piece of work there by the Botanical Garden Rangers, because Maloney had time enough to pose on that shot and still scampered you for 1, Roxanne.
Well, they're businesslike, as was the order of the day as called by Rommel. They've come out, the first 2 deliveries, they have really swashed at it and tried to go hard, and they don't look as if they're going to be bogged down at all.
Oh, good delivery outside. There are some gone, caught behind. Loud appeal for catch. Umpire Butler raises that dreaded finger, and boy, in disbelief, Salvan has to go. It's 3 for 1. The Botanical Garden Rangers, they have drawn first blood again for the Soufriere Hikers, against the Soufriere Hikers, and Salvan has to take that cold, dreaded walk back to the pavilion.
Well, anytime you get Salvan in any type of cricket is a plus, and you can see how elated the Botanical Garden Rangers players were. On the opposite side, though, both batsmen, did not seem to be quite happy with that dismissal. The umpire's decision is final for sure, but you can see even the non-striker in Captain Maloney seemed to have displayed a little displeasure in terms of what had transpired there.
Well, even the bowler, his reaction was not one that is of an appeal, but the keeper was animated enough to go up for that appeal, and then in agreement with the keeper, then the umpire given out. Sorry.
Well, nonetheless, the Botanical Gardens, their tail would be up. They have gotten the important wicket of Salvin Brown. Only 3 wickets on the tins, so they just have to take that momentum forward.
Well, it was in the air. Swing hard. 6 runs as hard. Douglas, gets off the mark with a 6 over Todman, somewhat closer to the keeper. That's 6.
Well, this is game 3. That these 2 batters for the 4 Charles Strikers they have not been dismissed. The 2 games prior to this, they've carried their bat, they've carried their team forward, and you're going to see them doing this. This is what Douglas likes, to chase and to hit the ball, and he's going to be throwing the kitchen sink, if you want to put it that way, at everything that's offered to him in his slot.
Pass them on a short third, 4 more. It's somewhat of a steered delivery. He caresses that one, somewhat soft touch. Romel, something that you adapted to.
Yeah, I think that was well played. The ball, it would appear, had a bit more bounce than Douglas anticipated. Kimali Williams should be disappointed that a better effort was not put in there by the fielder at short third man. But most importantly for the Soufriere Hikers, they have 13 runs on the tins and within the first over, with a required run rate of about 7.3. So they are ahead. They've lost 1 wicket, yes, but they are ahead nonetheless. The Botanical Gardens, they still have to hold their heads up. 1-2 good overs and things might turn around.
Delivery looking to steer it down to third man and goes straight to the keeper. Good bounce, good carry, just above the head height you would like as a keeper, Roman.
Yeah, he is bowling with quite some pace. He's running in, he's exuberant, he's young, as you said, so he's really banging it in. They're trying to give his team an advantage, a further advantage after having gotten that first wicket of Salvin Fresh. He's quite a wily ball. These deceptive balls that you really don't pick as often as you should. So many different ways of bowling those slow balls. Yeah, so it's interesting to see how he starts there. I know Desmond Maloney, he would look to stamp his authority as soon as Delpesh is quite a wily bowler and cunning.
Well, that's one of that slow ball they're referring to. Somewhat of a loose cricket there. The last Soufriere Hikers in a quest of 75, they really not really on the back burner to see. But Delpesh, who is, as we mentioned, from Chumuka, really has a variety of delivery.
Because that's his asset. That's his asset, and I believe if he gets it in the right position, he could be a handful.
Well, that is not Dylan's business. Dylan's business is to score and score the national lottery 3D boundary as he comes down the track and hit that one over cover for 4.
This is what we're talking about in the first innings. You may not have them at the lengths you love. You have to be innovative, especially under the pressure you will. And we see this here by Dylan. He's not allowing the bowler to take control and dominate his cricket.
Slow passing that outside edge. Romel, do you foresee that too much of our teams have been going with the rituals of you're accustomed to this? So the last of our hikers, they will know that LSH is coming for this spell. Then we'll go back to Kimali or we'll go back to Romaro Bibi for the next over. Do you see that too much of a ritual bowling trend to get too comfortable?
I wouldn't necessarily say that is the case because each team only has, I think, 12 players, right? No, 13 players, sorry. So it's not really, you don't have much in which to choose from. But the order in which the bowlers bowled depends a lot on who the batsmen are and the type of wicket.
Okay. Well, good end to that over. As we come to the end of over number 2, it's 19 for 1. Roxa, we haven't really seen much of Kieran Kotoy as a leg spinner in this Botanical Garden Rangers bowling artillery.
I'm not sure you may see him today either with what is left to be defended here. What, another 55, 56 runs with 8 overs to get those. I'm not sure whether we'll see him. I'm not sure if you guys did this earlier as well, but we want to shout out our fellow commentator in Kenroy Martin as he recovers, but I know he's enjoying the cricket as it goes on the TV right now.
All right. Martin, all the best there. Remember tomorrow's game, it will be the final. Whoever wins this game, they will play the Southern Breakers tomorrow at 1. We will also have a President 11 match. They will play the third place team. As to whoever loses this game, they will play the President 11 tomorrow. Wide delivery, confirmed by umpire Butler. And also we have packed entertainment tomorrow as well for you. And we're expecting a lot of people to be here. Good audience here today. Will be some disappointed spectators for the Botanical Garden Rangers, Romel. So two more to the total as that one goes down to the third man boundary. I had to do some extra work. Richie Richards, he have not really played much in this tournament, but his first this game he seems to be very busy.
Under the pump, really, the ball seems to be following him. We know how that goes in cricket, but this time was an excellent bit of work down there to make sure that it did not cross the ropes.
Saved there, backward point there by Kotoy. And Romel Kotoy being an experienced player as he is, we would have really liked to see more of him putting up that challenge to other teams, or even coming into this low total run trace. Someone put some sort of challenge to the batsman. Oh, yeah, delivery, full length delivery, loud appeal for LBW. But look at this. Sloppy backing up there by the Botanical Garden Rangers, and they go through for a 2.
Well, Kotoy over the last couple of years has developed his batting quite a bit. I know he did quite well in the last first class competition. His bowling has dropped off in my estimation somewhat. He hasn't. I think he was only bowled in one inning thus far in the tournament. So I should say where his batting went up, his bowling went down. But nonetheless, he has a lot of potential as a player. He's extremely fit, very good in the field. So yes, he has a lot to offer. He just has to keep working in the nets to try to get back to where he was in terms of his bowling. And his batting, like I said, has improved and will continue to improve going forward.
Down the leg side, taken cleanly by Emmanuel Stewart. Signal wide by the umpire.
They need wickets here. They really do need wickets, and I guess that is why Kimali has bowled. The captain has opted to bowl Kimali his last over because they really need wickets.
And you see that he's bowling that full length delivery, stump to stump, and he's getting his reward for that. He's been restricting the boundaries, Roxelle. And one of the things I've seen yesterday's game is that Winston Samuel came on and he bowled his two over spell, and he bowled for less than 15 runs. And I think that is something that the captain should consider on this wicket. This one's checked down the ground.
Yeah, well, that's an option, but Botanical Garden Rangers have to go with the tried and tested, and in this case, Kamali and Delplish, and no bones with that at all. I believe at the end of the day, when these two are completed, then you have to look at your other options. Kenneth Demba has done well for them as well, and himself and Samuel may be options a little later on. But at this stage, they must go with their trump cards and to try to get into the batting of the Soufriere Hikers. We must complement the running between the wickets, however. In some cases, a little sloppy bit of fielding, but they have capitalized on it really decisively in looking for that second or even the first.
Well, into the fourth over, which is the power play, and 26-1, the pressure continues. Full length delivery, good bouncer, run out chance to shallow. And Romel, we see the trend in not only the Botanical Garden Rangers, but with other teams, that if certain players doesn't get off, as we will say, the team in itself, the demeanor, the modus operandi of the team just go flat. As this one is in there, could be taken, gone, Maloney goes, as you are asking for, Romel. Wicket is the order of the day, 27 for 2. Well, should they be concerned?
I don't think they need so much to be concerned. Yes, they've lost Maloney. Yes, they've lost Brown. But they're only chasing 75. Douglas is still there. You know, once he sticks around, they will get that total easily. But that was what I was talking about as it relates to what is it, Delplish. He and those slower balls is quite cunning, and the way he bowls them is very difficult to pick. But we see Hodge coming in now. He should add some stability to the innings. He's not one to just go helter-skelter. He would look to get the singles, rotate the strike as much as possible, and that will augur good for them. So I don't really see it as much of a hiccup for Soufriere Hikers going forward. As long as these two batsmen stay here for the next 3 or 4 overs, the writing, I believe, should be on the wall for the Botanical Garden Rangers.
So Kevin Hodge comes to the crease. He did very well with the ball, but this time it's a new order of batting. First up, and you can see that wicket put a little bit of spring in the action of the Botanical Garden Rangers, Roxelle, and this is what the momentum they should get into the 9th over.
But yeah, it's always that case. The adrenaline is flowing. They're on top of their game at this stage. They've just got a wicket. The pressure now goes back onto the batters. They don't want to lose another wicket, albeit, as we said, the score is just 75 that they're required to get.
Well, this one pulled away behind square, 4 runs to Hodge, and yes, 4 runs to Hodge, 31 for 2. The Botanical Garden Rangers really need to be somewhat more disciplined with those short deliveries. So,
well, at the end of the 4th over, the Botanical Garden Rangers, they were 28 for 1. So that would mean that the Soufriere Hikers are well ahead. Yes, they've lost an extra wicket, but they know the total that they're chasing, which is a great advantage in this format of the game.
well, Richie Richards again into the action. Is that one end of the one more delivery? Right, the bowler was walking away as if this is the end of it. So 1 more to go into the over as Douglas comes into the strike. Douglas is 18 from 10. Hodge 5 from 3, a target of 75. They are 32 for 2 at this point.
I have a feeling, Casnell. Douglas is going to go.
This time over the man there at 1 bounce of 4, yes, over the man there at mid-off, and it goes into the boundary for 4.
Just like I said, I know the player. Douglas is not one to really stick around and look too much for the singles. Yes, he's going to run them as long as he gets them, but first and foremost, he looks for that boundary more often than not, and he's quite capable, as we have seen throughout the tournament. Hits them quite far. He's quite a strong lad. I've often been surprised at the distance some of the deliveries that he has struck over the boundaries, the distance those deliveries have gone. But yes, as long as these two stay at the wicket, Hodge and especially Douglas, I don't see this game going beyond the 8th over. I know Denver, as the captain of the Botanical Gardens, he would certainly have a different idea in mind. He is quite the cunning bowler as well. So yeah, he's not going to give up. But like I said, the Hikers, they really are in the ascendancy here.
And Roxelle, from my standpoint, I would say that I believe that Kenneth Denver, he should actually take an over in the power play, because most time you see it's the pace that the batsman will need. Yes, he doesn't spin the ball, and more like he will push it through, but not at the express as that of a genuine pace bowler like Kimali, and he will have a better control from an off-spin point of view.
Yeah, but what I'm reading here from Kenneth Denver and the Botanical Garden Rangers is that they are taking or using their wicket takers from throughout the tournament. If you look at the stats, yes, Kenneth is an excellent bowler. Yes, he restricts the scoring, but he hasn't really gone helter-skelter as it relates to taking wickets. There are 3 options so far are in the top 10 wicket takers as they now introduce Providence. So I don't know. That's the plan, it seems, from this stage.
Well, Providence, who hails also from Chumuka, left arm orthodox spinner. Force delivery full and wide. Somewhat of a loosener. Wide conformed there by the umpire. It will be a lot of challenge for wide delivery cut away out to the sweeper. They're coming back for 2. This could be close. Oh, did not collect cleanly by Stewart, the captain, and disturbs the castle. As Dillon and Hodge, they're very quick between the wicket, Roxelle.
Yes, excellent running between these two youngsters. And this is the type of cricket we will love to see, where you actually putting the fielder under pressure, asking a question of them, and backing yourself. The communication is good, and they were off and running from the ball by the time the ball was played.
I would love to see Kenneth Denver moving a bit closer from where he's at cover. He's on the circle, but given that the target is only 75, he needs to stop any single, well, as much singles as possible.
So it's tucked away again, out to the sweeper, coming back for the second again, and this time without no sort of trouble. They were able to get it through. Somewhat of a poor return, but you could understand from that region, you're throwing some distance with the wind coordination. I see a bit of switch feeling there from the point with Hector. So they have now bring the man in from square leg, and so there's just an adjustment. So there's a sweeper, yes, and there's a deep. So there's a deep point. So,
well, yeah, the batting is not bad, but you have to consider your fielding. And
right.
Roman and I were talking about it. Those two fielders that are on the offside, I make it Delplesh and Hector, cover and extra cover. They must be saving the single.
Well, a lot has been asked about the fielding position as well, but the captain now, he has put himself at a deep point because there's a short third man. This time he's go down the track. Could it be taken? What an attempt, and Kotoy, that one evades him with the win, and it goes for a national lot to 3 the boundary. 4 more to Dylan, 4 more to the Soufriere Hikers, they're 46-2.
Well, with a field like this, Romel, you cannot err at all. With 3 fielders on the onside, and there are wide open gaps. And Dylan, once you fall short of your mark, he's gonna pepper you.
And Romel, it's a small total. Yes, these are your wicket takers, but the experience of them should have come there to somewhat plug that pressure onto the Soufriere Hikers.
Well, I suspect Demba is going to bowl from the other end because he would want the right-hand batsman to hit to the west, to the eastern side of the ground. So that is why I believe Providence started at the top end, the airport end, as you put it.
Well,
so expect to see Denver coming to bowl the very next over from the Grenadines end.
So end of the over, it's 47 for 2. Douglas is on 27, Hodge she's on 10. A very picturesque view here of the Arnoldville playing field as the sun is blaring in all its glory. And you see that the tension, not really too much of a tension, because some 28 runs from 30 deliveries. They will really have to ask some question here, the Botanical Garden Rangers. They have to take more wickets, Roxanne.
Wickets. That's going to have to be the order. They cannot win the game by bowling out their 10 overs.
Yeah, you can't restrict the batsmen. You really have to put pressure on them. And the way you do that, you have to stop the singles. Because if they're getting singles at will, because the fielders who are supposed to be in the circle, on the edge of the circle, that's a no-no. So those fielders who are supposed to be in the circle, they have to be tight. They have to be stopping those singles and try to get the run rate far and above 6. Right now it's below 6. So it's quite easy for the Soufriere Hikers. But we have all seen what Douglas does. He's not going to just stick around and be satisfied with a single. If a ball is there on offer, he's going to launch it for 6. At least he's going to try to do so. But the fielders in the circle, they really should be in, especially the ones at cover. They really should be in. You have to take a risk if you are the captain of Botanical Garden. You can't expect to restrict them.
Well, Demba plays this one into the offside.
So yes, he is bowling off breaks. There is no mid-wicket. I would believe, had I been the captain, I would have taken maybe deep square leg or a sweeper and put in a short mid-wicket. You have to create some sort of pressure. Right now, the Soufriere Hikers are under zero pressure. They can just bat easily and take the game home.
Well, down the leg side, wide, something that you would not want to see at this time by the captain. Roxanne, it should be an easy walk in the park. It's not ranging anymore. and it's just coming down the slope, easy slope of the Soufriere hikers, especially if it's coming down the side of the Georgetown area.
Across the national park, looking for some what we call fat pork and seaside grapes, and just relaxing on the coastal area there. They have done the hard work, the hikers. They went up this morning. They're coming down now, and they're almost here. Time to picnic.
Well, the Rangers will really have to go back up those slopes, and they're coming back for a second. This is really good running. They really picked out a Hector to run 2 against, because they really realized somewhat of the immobility or the fastness between Hector there. I am very somewhat wondering, Hector is on that boundary. He's going to always question for 2.
Not even Hector alone. I think this was a second delivery that was played in the same direction. This time it was played with less space. He understood that, listen, I need to take a little bit more off of it and offer myself to get 2. And this is good batting by Douglas, albeit, yes, Hector may not be the quickest of the fielders in that area.
Well, midfield conference both by the Soufriere hikers and the Botanical Garden Rangers. We're seeing men running all over this playing field, going left, right, centre, back, forward. Well, we now see that Romaro Bibi has been moved from the third man position to the mid wicket, just what you have been calling for, Romel. Oh, this time is trying to reverse sweep that one. I think that one has somewhat struck him in his, just under his trin area, well, in his chest somewhat. Just a little bit of discomfort there for him. That ball struck him someone just off the bat.
It was a brave shot. It was a brave shot to play without a helmet.
Yeah.
And it's really not necessary, because it's 23 runs of 26 deliveries, and you're already getting an easy time of it batting, so it's not difficult. The running between the wickets is good. The singles are on offer. You just need to bat. You can bat 2 deliveries. You know you're going to get the boundary ball every now and again. You have 8 wickets in hand. But Douglas, he is the one who, as Roxel mentioned earlier on, he and his captain, they took home the game. Well, the last 2 games for the Soufriere hikers, they were both not out. They carried their bat, as we say. So yeah, he doesn't really need to try too much things. There's long on and there's long off. Just look to hit it down to the ground and get a single.
Same plays it. Goes down the ground. Let's see the signal by the umpire. Leg by. Signal by the umpire there. 2 leg bys.
Well, you'll always see this kind of cricket from Douglas. He always tries to initiate and innovate some things. He's very exciting at the wicket.
And this is what I was alluding to, Romel. You will not find that the players will take the risk with Demba bowling. Which is somewhat of a quiet over, more quiet over than we would have seen with the previous overs. And they're 55 for 2. Remembering they're just only tracing 75. They require some 20 runs from 24 deliveries. Should be a walk in the park, as...
Well, the thing about it is that they already know the total in which they have to get. So there's absolutely no need to go scalavanting, as we say here. You can take your time. You can actually, well, that's what you should always do. but they don't need to go searching for the big hits. They can wait on the bad deliveries, because as I said before, and as Roxel and you yourself have said before, the singles are an offer. So there's no need to go beyond what is necessary.
Well, Winston Samuel, he will take up the attack from the administrative centre end, and he will want to repeat, as he did in his interview, his attitude from the last game yesterday into this one. Kind of plug the ball in there. He's a bowler that bowls wicket to wicket, so it's either you hit or he hits. He's also a questionable candidate when bowling for LBW, but he just need to get the hint straighter outside, starting outside the off with the angle in which he bowls. So we see long on, long off, mid wicket, short fine leg, square leg, cover, point, and the man on the sweep of boundary, and the third man. Swings it high and hard out between the mid wicket out of the mid wicket boundary. That goes for 4.
Well, Douglas is on the go, and this is exactly what you expect from him. He would lavish the opportunity to bat against the likes of Samuel, not the outright pace, and doesn't do too much with the ball, and missing his length would be something he doesn't want to do against Douglas here.
Flicked away in front of square this time. 4 more runs, so I think some adjustment need to do to that field. Yes, as we see, Shallow now goes back onto that boundary, and Samuel is angling that ball into the pads, Rommel, and they have the square leg up.
Yeah, but the writing is already on the wall, I believe, here, because they need less than 3 runs and over, or just thereabouts. And Douglas, as we know, he's a prolific player, especially in these shorter formats. And once the ball is there, he's not going to mess around. He's going to look to take full advantage. And the feelers are on the circle who are in. The singles on offer. I see no way out actually for the Soufriere. Not the Soufriere, because the Botanical Garden Rangers.
Yeah. Oh, swing out to regionally, coming back for the second misfield there by Zimran Providence and Kieran Kotori coming back for 3. And boy, oh boy, what such running between the wicket there. 3 runs to the total. And disappointing cricket there from the Botanical Garden Rangers.
Yeah, but the pressure has been placed on them by the batters. They're not allowing them to be comfortable behind the ball when it's played at them. They're looking for the single, or they're pressing for 2, and this is what pressure does.
Oh, full delivery, misses by the keeper, and it goes through for, should be signal a bye now. Yes, a bye. Say good afternoon to the viewers in Bermuda. Somebody said they were watching cricket and they're disappointed with the BGR.
We have a lot of Vincentians in Bermuda working up there. Lovely place.
This time swing and a miss. And,
not as lovely as St. Vincent, but I can attest that it's a lovely, lovely place, Kastner.
Okay. Hoping that I will be able to get there one of these days.
But you did live there for a while, didn't you, Roxel?
Yeah, worked, lived there, tremendous people. Really enjoyed the stint with the kids at the schools. I had the opportunity to work, and I always would remember that place.
Well, remember is the name, and this one struck down the ground. So 68 for 2. End of over number 7. Douglas on 43. Hodge on 11. Quiet Hodge as we we'll expect Douglas requiring some 7 more runs for his 50, and the team requiring 7 runs. Can we see Douglas getting to 50?
Well, I tell you what, if I were a betting man, and I said this before, I would bet that Douglas will be looking to get the 7 runs for himself. He's facing up to Denver, an off-break bowler. Douglas, he knows himself. He knows he can hit the long boundary. He would be putting money on himself. So he is going for 6. I strongly believe so.
Well, Bills again has been beaten by the wind. And Roxelle, are we seeing a replica of version 1 where the finalists, they're going to be the Soufriere Hikers versus the Southbound Breakers?
Well, the same 2 teams, but I'm hoping that the Soufriere Hikers come better.
Well, this time he swings it out to the mid-wicket boundary. 1 bounce for 4, and that brings down the run trace to some 3 runs that is required. Dylan, he moves on to 47. It's 72. 72 for 2.
Let me clarify what I just said. I'm not supporting the Soufriere Hikers. I'm just saying that for them to produce a better final as opposed to Edition 1.
Well, they're looking for 2. 2 is a call. 2 it will be as the return comes to the keeper. Dylan gets 2 more to his total. He will be looking to get the last one, and more unlikely, Romel, you would have won your bet.
Well, somewhat, because I was really looking for 6, but he hit a 4 instead. But nonetheless, the result was the same.
Well,
1 run to get, Douglas needing 1 run to get a 15. I think he's belligerent enough to try to hit this for 6, you know.
So scores are level. Dot ball, something we haven't really seen or comment on in this innings. And there it is, 50 up for Dylan Douglas, and also a victory for the Soufriere Hikers. They have won and secured their position for the finals of the VPL Dream 11 T10 tournament. Well, the players, they are celebrating as if it's the finals because they know what it is to have lost some games in the early part of the tournament. They were somewhat written off, but they have curtailed themselves back into this tournament, and now they will meet the Southbound Breakers in the finals, Roxelle Currency.
Yeah, I think it's a good performance. They have already been up there, so to speak, as it relates to their bowling. Their bowling unit is quite potent, quite competitive. They do not give anything away. They have more than often gotten the job done in the field, and it was on most cases left up to the batters, who have come to the party in the last 3-4 games. And as Romel said, I think about 2 days ago, this spells danger for any team they will play against, and I think it would make for a really good and interesting final tomorrow if the teams play at their potential.
Romel, from the time you are half of your team, almost half, they were the Botanical Garden. This is from the time you're half of the team is facing under 5 overs in the wicket column down. It really says that you're not in a position to put up a challenging total.
Yeah, I think from the very start, the Botanical Gardens, they were on the back foot. They didn't have a good power play when they batted. You know, they were 28 for 1 at the end of the power play, and the guy who they looked at, Denver, he was the one who more often than not gave the impetus to their batting in the lower end of their innings. He didn't really get to come good this time. So kudos must go to the bowling of the Soufriere Hikers. So they did extraordinarily well, I believe. Well, was merely academics now, isn't it? When the Soufriere Hikers took to the crease, they weren't under any sort of pressure per se. The bowling wasn't that potent for the Botanical Garden Rangers. Kamal Williams, he kind of looked to kind of, for lack of a better word, tried to infuse some sort of hope for the Botanical Gardens, but it wasn't to be. I think Douglas came in there, he settled down. Hodge came in there, he settled down and took the game easily home for the Soufriere Hikers. So, disappointing end to what was a promising start, I believe, for the Botanical Garden Rangers. But let's move forward to the finals. The Soufriere Hikers, I believe, they have sent a clear message to the Salpon Breakers that they are not a team to be underestimated, really. For the last couple of games, they have played exceptionally well. So I think compared to the first edition of the VPL, the Salpon Breakers should expect a much harder fight this time around in the finals. These are the two teams who really have shown us how T10 cricket should be played. I expect it to be a beautiful finals. A lot will rest upon the shoulders of Sunil Ambrose, the Soufriere captain, John, the overseas player, and a couple of others who have done well for the Salpon Breakers throughout the tournament. Desmond Maloney, his team, they seem to have a bit more match winners. I could be wrong, but Dylan Douglas seems to be doing extraordinarily well. Captain himself, he has come to the party. But if I were to bet, and I'm not a betting man, I've always said that, it's 50-50, so I'm not sure where I'll go. It's 50-50.
Well,
but I never want to ask my brother.
I would say to you, the break that the Salpon Breakers have got from yesterday's game, it could have a psychological impact as to the momentum of the Soufriere Hikers going into tomorrow's game. They have been playing, I think, their last 3 games on a winning note. So psychologically, it could have an impact on the Salpon Breakers, but they would also have the attitude that, we are the winners, we play as winners, and we will be here as winners at the end of the final.
For me, it's about the teams going back tonight, doing their homework, and making sure their game plan is precise and to the point. Because you mentioned some names just now, Romel, and those are the names more often than not that should and would come up in your team meetings, be it virtual or whatever, tonight, because you have to plan for those players. You have to plan for those persons who have been outstanding on the opposite end as you look down the team you're playing tomorrow, and you have to come with a precise game plan and attempt to execute to the team.
Well, as we leave you with that picturesque view of the Islandsville playing field and also here in St. Vincent, remember tomorrow's game is a final of the VPL cricket tournament, the Dream 11 tournament here in St. Vincent. We want to advise on all our viewers around the world, tune in and we will have you exciting, compelling cricket tomorrow. The finals, it will be the Salpon Breakers against the Soufriere Hikers at 1 p.m. They will be looking for a second battle